United Nations says Phase 1 of Safer Tanker rescue operation is completed. Houthi military escalation in Al Dala province kills 6 soldiers from the joint forces. Houthis continue to promote Iranian influence in Yemen. Welcome to Yemen Today TV. This is the English news from me, Shazad Abdelbey. The United Nations said the first phase of Safer Tanker rescue operation has been completed. According to the UN, the rescue plan for the tanker Safer includes 4 phases, spanning 8 months, while experts warn of the consequences of delaying the process of unloading oil from the ship. The UN added that $144 million are still needed to solve the Safer oil tanker crisis. Despite regional and international efforts to resolve the conflict, the Houthi militia continues to escalate in different fronts, especially in Al Dala. According to the military media, the recent Houthi shelling on the joint forces sites resulted in the killing of 6 soldiers. This report has more details.
The Houthis have escalated their attacks on Yemeni government troops in Al Dala Governorate, rejecting international appeals to de-escalate the conflict and cooperate with UN-brokered mediation efforts to end the war. At least 6 soldiers have been killed and several others injured in shelling and ground attacks in Al-Fakhir and Al-Thawkhab regions last week. The attacks came despite Western ambassadors threatening to isolate the militia group if it did not bring an end to the fighting. The La France spokesperson stated that the Houthis had bombarded southern forces in contested areas of Al Dala with tanks, mortars, and heavy machine guns, while bringing in reinforcements from other provinces, likely in preparation for more aggressive attacks. The Houthi escalation coincides with their so-called defense minister's visit to Al Dala front. For the first time in a very long time, they employed tanks and mortar projectiles in their attacks, while the southern forces had thwarted the Houthis' attempts to capture new territory. Similarly, Yemen's defense ministry said that a Houthi-fired drone was shot down over army-controlled territory in the northern province of Jawf al-Shadafir. That came after Houthi defense minister visited battlefields in Jawf, Taiz, and Lahj, and threatened to restart military operations across the country if the Houthis' opponents did not fulfill their demands. Last week, the ambassadors of the US, UK, and France urged the Houthis to de-escalate and negotiate with the Yemeni government to reach a peaceful agreement, threatening to isolate them if they resumed military activities. The international community is committed to supporting the progress of a sustainable UN-led peace process in Yemen. They call on the Houthis to renounce ultimately any military option, stating that any return to conflict would lead to their total isolation by international community, as the people of Yemen deserve peace.
Sources in Sana'a reported that the Houthi militia released 2 journalists who were arrested 4 years ago in Hodeidah. The sources added that the 2 journalists are Mohammed al-Salahi and Mohammed al-Junaid, and their arrest came as part of Houthis' constant violations against press and freedom of speech in Yemen.
بن ثياب نشطط يعني ثياب نروح عن القرى نحوس وهذا نروح بثياب ونصلحها مآوي وكراتين من الشوارع. والله ان احنا نكره المطر، يخسع لنا البطانيات، يخسع الفراش، يخسع الجماش، نسمر برادة خاسعين احنا وجهالنا.
فالمأوى الانتقالي هذا الكنتيرة جعلتهم يعيشوا في استقرار للمستفيدين من ناحية سواء من ناحية الأمطار أو من ناحية العواصف والرياح والرملية، بما أنه عندنا هنا في مارب الرياح بتكون شديدة.
Sources in the capital Sana'a said that centers for teaching the Persian language began to spread on a large scale in the capital. According to the sources, most of the students enrolled in these centers are employees of the public institutions under the control of the Houthi militia, who facilitates and promotes the spread of the Iranian cultural influence in Yemen. This report has more details.
Sources in the capital Sana'a said that Persian language teaching centers began to spread remarkably many years ago. According to the sources, most of the students enrolled in these centers are employees of public institutions under the control of the Houthis, and all of them are supporters and followers of the militia. The Houthi expansion in imposing the Persian culture by teaching the language and obtaining privileges in the public office comes as part of the Houthi plan to turn Yemen into a clone of Iran. Since its coup, the Houthi militia sought to subjugate and impose the Iranian culture on Yemeni society, and after the coup in 2016, the first batch of this department graduated in 2020. The Yemenis transmitted video clips of Houthi singers chanting songs that incite violence, hatred, and fighting in favor of the Houthi coup project, and these clips recalled other clips of children recruited by the Houthis to participate in the fighting fronts.
In Al-Mahra, the security forces arrested a senior Al-Qaeda leader. According to the Ministry of Interior, the arrested person is named Ubaida, who is believed to be the intelligence official of Al-Qaeda, and he was working as a truck driver. In Amran province, citizens found the bodies of 16 people previously kidnapped and forcibly disappeared by the Houthi militia. Sources said that the abductees were found while they were in positions with their hands tied inside a cave in the area. Citizens recalled their abduction at the end of 2010 in the area between Amran and Sada. In the interim capital Aden, dozens of women staged a protest denouncing the rise in crime cases due to carrying weapons. The demonstrators called for the speedy trial of the murder of a child who was killed last Tuesday by a gunman. The Houthi militias in Yemen were again accused of turning the country into a place for drug trafficking in the region. On the occasion, the US and the UK released statements revealing the volume of Houthi drug smuggling, while the militias continue to claim that they have been destroying illegal substance that they seize. This report has more details.
The Houthi militia destroyed everything in Yemen, and they also aiming at destroying the minds of youth through drug trade. Drug trafficking and trading was one of the militia's source of income when they were in Sada, and the trade thrived when they had control over the capital Sana'a in 2014. A number of Houthi leaders are involved, if not leading, drug trade in Yemen. Their grip over power increased their inclination to widen the trade by ensuring that the state institutions they control are playing the game for their interest. Drug trafficking and trading gained more ground after the militia controlled Sana'a, and it became a tool that is run and observed by the group through using the Ministry of Interior as a tool for securing that the drug dealing will never go out of their grip. Special sources in Sana'a affirm that the Houthi militia has control over several trafficking points, the most remarkable of which is the Red Sea points on Hodeidah. Late May, American sources revealed that the size of drug trafficking between Iran and Houthis reached $1 billion last year. The sources reported that the militia acquired equipment to produce drugs in the areas under their control in order to spread them in the region.
Coming next in the news. Villagers in war-torn Yemen observe traditions to deepen bonds and unity.
من بداية الحرب ارتفع سعر المواشي وارتفع سعر الأعلاف. القونية البر ب 50,000. يلا نشتري نص قونية. بالنسبة لنا الرعاة عندنا يعني نفكر بالأعلاف، هذا اللي نفكر به. اليوم أجا منظمات الفاو وأعطيتنا احنا 3 جواني أعلاف و3 قوالب ملحية. نستفيد من الأعلاف غذاء للمواشي حافظا على صحة الأغنام، والقوالب الملحية فاتحة للشهية. الذي استلمته اليوم فيساعدنا في معيشتي الاقتصادية مع الأسرة، يعني بدل ما اشتري الأعلاف اشتري للجهال.
Welcome back. A recent UN report said that mines and explosive devices caused more than half of the number of child casualties in Yemen. According to the report, landmines have claimed a total of 282 child victims, which represents about 52% of total child victims of the conflict in Yemen. 80 people working in Masam demining project were killed and injured while engaged in clearance activities over the past 5 years. The director of Masam project explained that the project removed more than 400,000 mines since 2018. Despite years of conflict, people in war-torn Yemen continue to observe Eid traditions to deepen social bonds and unity. The following report has more details.
The sound of drums and tambourines fills the air as local theatrical troupe members wearing outlandish masks and walk along the roads between villages in the southern Yemeni province of Ib. Villagers follow the troupe joyously as they were entertained by the jests of the masked performance. This is the way how for centuries villagers in Al-Mazba district of Ib have celebrated Eid al-Adha, one of the most important festivals for Muslims across the world. These customs have been passed down through generations, reflecting the strong bonds within local communities. At the core of the tradition is the practice of mutual visits, symbolizing unity and togetherness during the holiday season. During Eid al-Adha holiday, many villagers visit neighboring villages to sing songs and perform traditional dances. They are accompanied by local troops dressed in strange attire and wearing masks that resemble monsters and mythical creatures. These performers, known as the Prince of the Feast, are very good at filling the procession with playful laughter. The Prince of the Feast has the power to entertain people without causing annoyance or displeasure. A warm and grand welcome is extended to the visitors upon their arrival at the neighboring village. Drums are beaten in the background as dances and traditional chants and songs are performed. The celebrations culminate at the village's central parade ground, where the visitors are embraced with open arms. This visit is shared the next day, as the host villagers perform the same ritual by paying a visit to those who had visited them. Such celebrations have special meaning for the villagers, who consider them a vital part of their community during Eid al-Adha. Even those who have been engrossed in their own pursuits and spent most of the year in far-off cities will travel back to the villages for Eid al-Adha holiday, demonstrating their dedication to their roots and shared heritage.
The Office of Culture in Shabwa organized a two-day festival to celebrate Eid al-Adha. The celebration included a number of performances which reflect the rich heritage of Shabwa. This report has more details.
To commemorate the arrival of the blessed Eid al-Adha, Shabwa Governorate's Culture Office hosted a two-night artistic concert that featured Shabwani traditional dances and performances by local artists and talents. This year's Festival of Heritage and Arts in Shabwa is widely awaited by local residents and is the fourth such annual installment.
العيد فرحة في محافظة شبوة لقدم لكم من العادات والتقاليد والرقصات الشعبية.
We are celebrating Eid in Shabwa Governorate with traditional performances that hail from diverse coastal, mountainous and desert regions and directorates.
The second night saw the formation of Shabwani Samra, an integral part of the Governorate's tradition, in which famous poets duel by exchanging lyrical poetry spoken to the beats of drums. The event gave people an opportunity to showcase their talents. These cultural concerts on Eid nights are the first of their kind in Shabwa Governorate, providing reprieve from arduous labor. They serve to foster joy and happiness among city people, especially given the Governorate's scarcity of entertainment options.
Here's a reminder of the main headlines. The UN says Phase 1 of the Safer Tanker Rescue Operation is completed. Houthi military escalation in Al-Dala province kills 6 soldiers from the joint forces. Houthis continue to promote Iranian influence in Yemen. This is the end of the news. Thank you for watching.